Hi there, this is Carl Irwin, and I want to show you something really interesting here. I've got a deck of cards. I've got another deck of cards here, and this one we'll use as our control because you're not here. I would need you to make some selections, but we'll use this deck to make our selections for us. The first thing that I would ask you to do is to come up with a value. You've got 13 values to work with, so you have ace through king, and we'll just have the deck kind of select a value here. So the deck says that we'll use the 3, so that's our value that we're going to go with, is the 3. The next thing that I would have you do, and by the way, I might ask you, is there any reason why you would select 3? Maybe there's a reason for it, I don't know. I would ask you to select a suit next. So a suit, now this is 3 of hearts, and maybe you would pick the hearts, but we'll see what you would come up with. You would say the clubs. So the 3 of clubs, and that would be your selection, 3 of clubs. So I have something in my pocket right here that's going to be of interest. I have some change, some loose change, and I just want you to watch this very, very fairly. I'm going to reach into my pocket, and I'm going to take out my change, all of it here. Let's see if I can get all of it. So this is everything that I've got, and you see I've got 25, what's that, 30, 35, 36, 37, 38. 38 cents in my pocket. And what was it? The 3 of clubs. The 3 of clubs. Let's take a look over here. I've got a deck of cards here that's been shuffled. We'll count out 38 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. And this is the 38th card in this deck. And it is the 3 of clubs. So I've been working on this for a while. This is actually an effect that I had heard mentioned by Gregory Wilson way back on his second Penguin live lecture that he did, related to a device that he sells. I think it's called Exact Change. I don't have the device, but I know what it is. He exposed it there on that live, and it's the ad copy for the device is quite clear that it is it's just a coin index is what it is. It's a pocket coin index. This is a free, well, not free, almost free. This is something I had lying around, so it's free to me, but I paid for it at some point. It was just a cheap, few dollar coin index that you would leave in a car or something like that. I think it once had a keychain loop on it that has since broken off. And this is something that, you can find at a dollar store or something like that, just to place a bunch of coins in it so that you always have loose change available if you would ever need it. And this is essentially the idea behind his gimmick. And his gimmick is supposed to be fashioned specifically for magic and created with the right tension to, really be a useful index in the pocket. I'll be honest with you, though, on that Penguin Live lecture, which was a very good lecture, by the way, he, on more than one occasion, he kind of botches the trick, right, as he's doing it. And it's a thing that he created. So you can kind of see in real time the creator showing just kind of how tricky the device is in its use, and the ways that can be slipped up and errors can happen. So for that reason, I always liked the idea, but I didn't really get into it. I tried it with something like this, and I found that I had the same kinds of issues, the miscounting kind of issues. Never mind the math side of it, but just the time to kind of fumble to get the things out, and also the fact that you make errors on occasion because things don't slide out exactly perfectly every time. And it was like 3 out of 4 times you would get it right, and that the odds were not very good. So I played around with that for a while. I also have played around with like making an index like this, where I had a just some card stock with coins indexed in that you can push off. And what I would do is I'd keep these in my wallet so that I could do this effect where I kind of reach in and finger around and then dump the change out of my wallet. And that has served me well. I've done that a few times and it worked out pretty well to do it that way. but I really wanted the cleanliness of reaching into the pocket, just pulling out the money, and it would be right. There's another device out there, I think, called what is it? Something Sense. I can't remember what it is. Maybe if you remember, you can put it in the comments section. But it's another device. I can't remember who the creator is, but it's a similar idea, I think. I've never seen the device, but it's pretty open that it is a holdout index of some kind, right, for money that goes into the pocket. And it purports to be better than exact change in that there's no fumbling around for it. I read the reviews for that, and I saw kind of a mix of positive and negative. A lot of people said, well, it took some time to make it work, and a lot of the same kinds of complaints about it's not totally reliable, it takes a little bit of time, and it was very bulky. So I thought, well, let me experiment around with some ideas, and I wonder if I can do this little, card at any number kind of concept using a stack deck. This is my deck stack, which, by the way, is for sale on Penguin. The common stack, you can go check that out. It just went up recently, $7 for the stack. And to learn the stack, it's an idea that I've shared on the channel before with a number of tweaks to it, and then a bunch of other insights that I have not shared about it, and then a few effects that I look at. This is not one of them. But this stack was perfectly suited for the idea of using some kind of a pocket coin index. So I wanted to play around with this, and I came up with a few ideas that I'm going to share with you today that you can play around with to use up to 60 cents in change. Let me get my change out of here, out of my indexes, and I'll show you kind of my thought process and where I started and then where I ended up. So this here is the money that I determined I needed to have to do a 52-cent index. So this is not a full dollar. If I wanted to do a full dollar, I would need to have a couple more quarters in here. But those effects where you reach in and just pick out an amount of change that someone calls, that didn't interest me so much. But I wanted to be able to use the change for as sort of a prediction for other effects. And with cards, that's 52, right, is our kind of our top limit. So this is what I found I needed. And this is also given the premise that I wanted to have a large enough amount of change every time I did it. I didn't want to just do this with just a couple coins, right? Unless it's 1, 2, or 3 or something like that for the number. I wanted to be able to have, if 8 is called, I wanted to be able to have, or rather a better example is that if a 10 is called, I would rather have 5 pennies and a nickel than just take out a dime, if that makes sense. I wanted to be able to do that. So, or if 40 is called, I wanted to have, a quarter, a nickel, and, well, I guess I can't really get there. But if I guess I could do 30 this way, right? I could do 10, 20, and then 30. I wanted to have pennies. I wanted to have, enough coins to make this work. So this is what I came up with: 5 pennies, a nickel, 2 dimes, a quarter, and a nickel. And with these, I wouldn't have to do a lot of math. The math would be kind of self-explanatory. So the next step I took was to divide the coins out of one pocket and put them in separate pockets for 2 reasons. First, that segregating the coins means that there's less fumbling around because you're only dealing with a small number of coins in each pocket. And then I can bring them together in the reveal. I'll talk about that in a moment. But what I came up with is that I could have a quarter, a nickel, and 2 dimes in one pocket. That's only 4 coins that are fairly different. And I could even kind of stack them in the pocket and think of them this way, and we'll talk about that in a second. Then the other idea was that in the other pocket to have a nickel and then 5 pennies sitting on top of that. And that's sort of a stack down in the corner of my pocket. I could situate this ahead of the trick and have it sitting there, and then I could index from those just by hand. So that was the idea. Now, the way this would work is that if you had, let's say, pick a number like 42, the way this would work is that I have 30 cents with the quarter and the nickel, which would mean I would need to thumb off 1 dime. that would give me 40. So this is the 40 I would pull out, and I would leave the dime behind. And then over here, I would just need to thumb off 2 pennies. So ahead, in the left pocket, I would thumb off my pennies. I would take that hand out as I'm talking to the spectator. Then I would reach into my pocket, and then in the moment, all I would need to do is thumb off 1 dime, take everything else out. I could shake it in my hand. I could turn my pocket inside out and actually keep this other coin in there in a safe zone, which we'll talk about in a moment. Turn the pocket inside out, and then it's just a matter of taking these coins, dropping them into the left hand, and then doing the count. And then I have my amount, right? So I would have 30, 40, 1, 2. That's 42. So that's how I was thinking about doing the math, that it would just be a matter of thumbing off the coins I don't need from each stack. And then I thought, well, I want to be quicker than that. So then I thought about the concept of using some kind of holdout so that I could separate coins and index them. So the next step was to take the quarter and the nickel, which would always go together as 30, and I put them into one of these little tiny document binder clips, and then it would sit separate. So I had the dimes floating and then this sitting in my pocket. And then if I needed 30, I could just reach in, grab this clip, drop them into my hand, right, in the pocket, drop the binder clip, and then come out with the coins if I needed 30. Alternatively, I could, if I needed 40, I could do the same. I could drop these into the hand, drop the binder clip, pick up 1 dime, and then come out with the coins. And that would be a lot faster and more secure. Likewise, over here, what I decided to do was to just index off the nickel, so that the nickel could be free floating, and then I'd have the pennies sitting down in the pocket. So the first thing I would do is, if I need my nickel, I could pick up the binder clip, pop that into palm, and then I can thumb off what I don't need from the penny stack and then come out with that. And I thought, well, still that worked a lot better, but still it required some gymnastics. I wanted to be able to reach in, and I wanted to unhitch what I needed and take all the change out and then have it. So I came up with this. This is where I ended up. I've got 2 indexes, and I took this kind of second tier binder clip and I taped them together side by side. So I've got 3 binder clips right here. And the way I index this in the pocket is I put the quarter and the nickel together, and that's 30. And then I put the dimes separate, so each one is in its own. So now I've got 30, 40, 50 in this index, and I leave it in my pocket with the larger values to the back side of the pocket. Then on the other side, what I did is I indexed the nickel, then 3 pennies, then 1 penny each. So there's actually 4 clips here in this index. And again, I put the larger value to the back, so the nickel goes to the back outside. So now I have these 2 indexes in my pocket. They're not very big. They can kind of sit. They sit kind of in a wedge shape right down in the corner of the pocket. I can have other items in there too, because what I'm going to do is I'm only going to release the coins that I need to pull. So the way this works is I have my stack. I do a false, any kind of false shuffle, whatever. And then I ask for a value first. And as I ask for the value, I have my hand in my left pocket with this index. And let's say somebody calls out, let's see here. Well, we'll do something else. We need something kind of in the middle here. 9, okay? So let's say they call out 9. Now for my stack, all of the 9s, and this is a heads up on how this stack works, all of the 9s are at the 6 position, some 6, right? So I know that what I need to do is drop a 5, and I need to drop 1 penny. So I just open the clamps for those, and then I collect these in my hand, and then I can take my hand out of my pocket as I'm asking them, any reason why you would pick a 9, right? And then I need them to select a suit. So they can select a suit. Now this works well for my stack, but it could work for any stack, because you can just get a fully card named. And as you're asking them, why they would think of that, you can take the secondary digits, right, that backside number out of a 2-digit number out of the left-hand pocket while they're answering you. But I've got mine set here. Then I say I need a suit. So they offer the heart. So we're looking at the 9 of hearts. And in my stack, I know that the 9 of hearts is in the 26th position. So 26. So what I'm going to need from my other pocket is I'm going to need 20. That's going to be these 2 clips over here. So what I do is I reach into my pocket and then I squeeze off the 2 dimes and they drop in. And then I pull this back. I can push this back behind my hand, grab the dimes, and now I'll show you how this works. Once I've released them and I push this to the back side of the pocket, I can reach down in front of that, grab the corner of the pocket, and I can actually pull the pocket out. What happens is the device goes into this sort of holding spot in the pocket. And it's as if I've emptied my pocket and I've pulled out my 2 dimes. So now I've got 2 dimes in hand. I've pulled my pocket out. And then all I need to do is transfer these 2 dimes to my other hand for the count. And now I've brought everything together. So I've got 10, 20, 25, 26. I've got several coins of different values, a diverse set of values, and I have made my reveal. So now I can count out to 26. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. And I have the 9 of hearts. So that is how this idea works. And it is, I'm happy with it. It seems to be really straightforward and foolproof. And the math is really simple too. So let me just kind of show this to you again, all the options, and you can build one of these if you like the idea. Again, what I used was these kind of second-tier binder clips for a large document. And I just used some electrical tape. So I wrapped the inside handles of this in electrical tape. And the idea is that you could actually grab more than one of these at a time to be efficient if you know the right combination to grab. So let me put this back together. Put my dimes over here. And these are all of the options. So let me show you the left-hand side first. So if I want to take 1 penny, I would pull on the first clamp, right? And it would drop 1 penny. And then I can take that out. If I want to drop 2 pennies, I would grab both of these clamps together and it would drop 2 pennies. If I want to drop 3 pennies, I actually have a compartment for that. That's the second one. So I can feel on the index down to here and I would drop my 3 pennies. I could take that out. If I wanted to drop 4 pennies, 4 cents, I would grab the 2 inside clips and I would drop my 4 pennies and I would take them out. If I needed, of course, 5 pennies, I could either drop those 4 first and then reach over and grab the next one, or I could drop all of them all together. You just want to squeeze very hard when you're doing multiple clamps so that you open them up wide enough. The safer bet probably is to drop the first 2 and then drop the last one separate. But I could have done that. If I wanted to drop 6 cents, I would drop my nickel and then I would reach forward to the end and drop a penny, right? If I wanted to drop 7 cents, I would drop the nickel and then I would reach forward and drop 2 pennies. So the 2 front clips. If I wanted to drop 8, I would drop these first 2 together, which is the nickel and 3 pennies. And then if I wanted to drop 9, I would drop that same group, so the first 2 clamps plus the next one or the one on the end, and that would give me 9. And of course, if I wanted to drop 10 so that I wouldn't have to use a dime, just 1 coin, I would drop all of it, right? So I would just grab the first couple of clamps here and I would drop them, and then I would reach over and grab the last 2 clamps and drop those, and I would have everything. Now the good news about these small coins is that they're really quite quiet in the pocket. So pennies, nickels don't make a lot of noise. It's not really until you get to nickels quarters, right, where you really start to get a lot of noise. And also because I'm so far ahead and the left pocket is not the pocket of interest, I can take my time really in getting that second digit of the 2-digit option, right? So if I'm dealing with a 2-digit number like 16, I can drop my 6 over here, and then I can grab my dime from this side, but I can have my 6 way ahead before I reach in and grab the second pocket to get that dime out. So that brings me to the right pocket, and this has fewer coins, which means that this side is perfect for a quick reach, grab, and removal because there's very little to work with over here. You just have the 50 cents that is in this device. So if I wanted to drop 10 cents, I would reach up and I would grab the first clamp and drop just the 1 dime. If I wanted to drop 20 cents, I would grab the first 2 clips and drop those together. If I wanted to drop 30 cents, I would go to the far clip, which has the quarter and the nickel, which is 30. If I wanted to drop 40 cents, I would drop these 2 clamps on my right, which would be the 30 cents plus a dime. And of course, if I wanted to drop all 50 cents, I could grab the whole clamp and drop it all together, or the more safe bet is to drop the 30 plus the dime and then drop the other dime before I pick up. So that's my index idea, using small binder clamps and then separating kind of second digit double digit numbers, the second side, the single digit side from the double digit side. And then you can think in groups of tens. You can think about that where you're at in the last tens group on the left and be ahead, and then you can think about, well, where am I at in tens on the right as you go for the final grab. So that's my index idea for a coin index, for a pocket index, using binder clips and separating them. Good luck with that. And again, my common stack is up on Penguin if you want to check that out for an extremely easy stack. That is easy to learn. You can learn it just in the course of watching the video. You'll know it, I think, for most people. And it's also a stack that you probably won't forget. You'll always be able to come back to it, even with infrequent use. You'll be able to revisit it really at any moment and be very confident and secure with it. So that's the stack. That's the index. Good luck with that. Happy magicking.